The first time I saw someone talk about this on YouTube, I didn't watch the video. I was just assuming that they're talking about Rossdraws because he's like kind of a big figure in digital art. And I remember I also have his brushes and he's like a little bit of tutorial. And apparently it's fake. We're gonna find out what is actually going on. Since I like SamDoesArts, I'm gonna watch him. I'm very biased. I don't believe other people, but I believe SamDoesArts. I don't know, man. We'll see. Is this the guy that Jazza made a video about some time ago, or is that another person? I actually don't know. I don't watch Jazza. I watch SamDoesArts though. I watch him. Don't believe this. I'm just not subscribed, but I watch him. Okay, let's see what this is.
What's up, guys? Welcome back.
Hello,
Please
what's
buckle
up?
up. This is going to be a crazy video. Here's the
Why is it-
situation. So Rossdraws, who happened to be one of my biggest inspirations when I first
Yeah,
started
yeah.
out, is now getting canceled for using AI in his work.
Yeah. He's one of the biggest artists in the industry, in the art field. A lot of people are inspired by him. I used to look up to you as a young artist years ago. I'm so disappointed using AI. Oh wait, there's another person who was using AI. But he's still doing videos, I think. He still continues doing videos. What is his name? Oh god, I don't remember who it is. An artist who uses AI in his art. Ergo Josh, I think. He admitted that he uses AI. I think it's him. Hold on, let me Google. Is that him? Ergo Josh. Yeah, it's him. Art YouTuber Ergo Josh supports and admits to using AI. Comments are overwhelmingly negative. Doubles down and plans to release an AI tutorial. There it is. I know he still makes videos. Today I learned that artist to artist hate is when you want to help artists to better understand this tool so that they don't get fucking replaced by someone else who does. Yeah. I remember this. This was like a big deal, but he still does videos and he still makes art. I guess you know what they say about getting cancelled? It's like, you don't really get cancelled unless you let yourself get cancelled. Maybe something like that. But I don't know. I don't really know. We'll see.
As well as not wanting to pay his employees. We are so cooked, boys.
Oh, shit. It's not just AI. He doesn't want to pay his employees. Well, that sounds bad. AI in itself is very, what do you call that? Problematic. When you mention AI, especially in the art space, you're gonna have people raising eyebrows. Some people are into it, a lot of people are against it. Some people don't want to say anything about it. But the fact that he also doesn't pay his employees, actually, it's not a fact yet. I don't know. The thing that people say that he doesn't, allegedly, allegations, there you go. He's being alleged that he doesn't pay his employees. That's bad. That's bad, SamDoesArts.
To be honest with you guys, even though I never go outside, I'm actually not as chronically online as you guys think. So this issue would have probably flown under my radar if it weren't for a couple of you guys commenting on my last video, saying stuff to me like, why are you staying silent on these allegations? And why would I listen to an artist who uses AI in their work? First of all, that's offensive. Second of all, what did I do? Bro, can you imagine how confused I was? So I thought, okay, you guys must have got the wrong guy. And you did. Turns out it wasn't about me. It was about Ross. And apparently in 2025, we still can't tell Asians apart. I mean, bro, be for real. Do we...
Oh, they thought Sam is Ross. Do they look the same? Be careful what you say if they look the same. Do all Asians look the same? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. He may have dug his own grave if it's true about the salary. Yeah, that's really bad. That sounds illegal if he's not paying his salary. As a nation, that's only one person? Nah, it's not. They have different shaped heads. This guy has like more square head, and this one has like more oblong head. Why is this guy in two images? No, 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 no. No, you don't understand. They're different, okay?
Look alike? We're not even the same breed of Asian. Anyway, so thanks to my newfound
Not the
haters, I
same
found out
breed
about
of
this issue
Asian.
and I decided to do some digging because I'm nosy. So I just followed
Yeah,
the
let's be
scent of
nosy.
the tea. And here we are.
Give me
Now
the
in this
tea.
video, I want to address the two main issues, which number one is AI usage, number two is not paying somebody who works for you. If you guys have been following me for any amount of time, you probably would have heard me say at some point that Ross was one of my biggest inspirations and one of my art heroes at the very start of my YouTube/social media journey.
Yes, yes,
He
yes.
inspired me and showed me the possibility not only of art, but also of the career path that you could take in art. His energy was contagious and I loved seeing another Asian dude just being on the top of his game. I was like, that could be me. Today I would consider myself and Ross to be acquaintances. We don't talk, but we do
That
know
could
each
be
other.
me.
And the one time that we did actually interact was
Oh,
at
there they
Lightbox
are.
Expo 2022.
I know these people. I watch them. Oh, well, I don't really watch Rossdraws that much. I mostly watch SamDoesArts and for a time Ethan Becker. These two people are the people I watch the most. And before I learn about them through Bobby Chu, who started this Lightbox Expo thing. Oh, yeah, yeah. I remember. That's how I got his brushes. I got Rossdraws brushes because of a Lightbox Expo. There's like a free thingy, free digital goodies that they gave away during like the pandemic, and one of the digital goodies is an art of him, like a PSD file and brush set. I remember that. Ah.
We had some great conversations that weekend.
Yes, yes,
We
yes.
ran a panel together, which was a fantastic time. He even took Ethan Becker, ergo Josh, a couple of his employees, as well as myself out to dinner afterwards, all of which he paid for because we were guests in his city. And at one point, I
Hello,
remember I
Bishop
tried to buy
Satire. Hello,
something
hello.
from his store
Hello,
from
Mark
one of
Knife.
his employees, and bro just like spawns in out of nowhere and just refuses my money. So my personal experience with Ross is he's a very kind person, and he has been nothing but kind to
That's
me.
the
Throughout all of
impression,
my
yeah.
interactions with him, I have had no reason to think
That
otherwise.
face.
I really like the guy from the time that we spent together, and I mean it when I say that I wish him all the best, and I don't have any bad blood towards him.
I guess that's how it is, huh? With like things like this, with situations, drama, quote unquote. I don't know. Because usually people form opinions based on their interactions with that person, right? It's not really about what other people say. I mean, that's how I form opinion about other people, at least. I usually base it on my interaction with them, or like if I sense a bad vibe with someone. Yeah, that's how it is. But most of the time, I base it on if I interacted with them, or if I didn't interact with them, I guess I don't have an opinion about them. Or like most of the time, since this is a React channel, you may not know that this is a React channel. I like to snoop around other people's business. We like drama here. Or do we? Do we like drama? I guess so. I like drama. I like drama until it comes knocking at my door and I'm the one getting involved in drama. Uh-oh, we'll find out what happens if I actually get involved in drama. I'm gonna make a video out of it if that happens. Anyway, that's what I was thinking about, like, opinions about people. Similar to what he says. It's like, if the person is nice in your interaction, it's like, you don't really think too much about it. And sometimes you're not aware of what happens outside of that interaction because you don't know everything about everything that happens in the internet. You know? In a similar vein, I don't know everything that happens in the streamer world or the VTuber world. I don't know. I don't know who's getting cancelled today. I don't know what's the new VTuber drama. I mean, sometimes I know. When I'm feeling like I wanna snoop into other people's business, when I'm bored, I have so much time in my hands, I look into VTuber drama and streamer drama. But in general, I don't really know much. So, yeah, I get it.
He has been a huge inspiration to not only myself, but a lot of other art babies in the community, which is why we got to address the issues that we're going to address today. Now, here's a quick summary of the situation. So there's a guy named Fen who used to work for Ross. Fen helped Ross at conventions, and they sort of seemed like they were friends because Ross would always go to Fen for advice. And Fen recently came out with a 20-page Google Doc expose on
Google
Ross and
documentary.
the problematic things that he thinks Ross does. So obviously, anytime you take dirty laundry onto the internet, it gets messy. As you would expect, this basically started a whole hate campaign against Ross.
When you take out the dirty laundry into the internet, people burn it and start a big fire. You're disgusting. Ross get into NFTs. People get rightfully mad. Ross uploads coming out videos so people feel pity for him. Oh, did he also get into NFTs? I didn't even know that. Now Ross exploits people and his so beloved dog. He exploited his dog! Someone commented that. It must be true. It's on the internet. It must be true. People get rightfully mad. Ross says he adopted a cat, so people go, oh, be for real. You should be ashamed to call yourself an artist. Poor cat, I hope you don't mistreat it too. Yeah. What prompt did you use to look up to this guy? Can pay for a cat, but can't pay employees. Oh, shit!
Ross has been posting about his new pet recently, and a lot of people in the comments are clearly not very happy with the guy. And I think it's hilarious how I got caught in the crossfire. That's just my luck, man. Sam does death by friendly fire. Now, I've gone through every single page, every single sentence, every word, every punctuation in this document, and the two main issues are AI and not paying your employees. Now, the first one that I want to talk about is the AI problem. Now, let's pull this up. So Fen says this is a more serious accusation, and it absolutely is. Ross is working on a new project right now, which is just another art book, and I can't in good conscience recommend anyone to buy it. That's because all of this is AI, including his Instagram profile picture. He has shown to me and admitted to me in person that he has used AI for this, and Fen claims that he's well aware that some of these images aren't released yet to the public, but the ones that will be released will have been painted over to hide any traces of AI. Now, if this were true, that would genuinely be quite problematic. Fen says, I know any proof I have around this is sparse because he's very intentional with when and how he shares his images, and he's attached this painting that Ross has done along with the draft painting. Now, his claim here is that the leg armor in the draft painting is strangely formed, is asymmetrical to the other leg armor, and has more detail than the final piece, which he alleges that Ross painted over to hide his AI usage in the draft process.
Wait, so all of this is based on one person's words? All of this relies on his employee. Previous employee? His employee? So it's like everything is under the assumption that it's actually telling the truth. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it seems like it's based on that. I'm not saying it's not telling the truth. I'm just saying that this situation is based on a 20-page Google document by one person who used to work for him, or probably still working for him. Cats are actually free. Just pick one from the ground. That's true.
Now, obviously, just by looking at these pieces, we cannot definitively claim that these are made by AI.
Really say.
We've gotten to a point where there's simply no way to tell. So some of these images don't actually set off my AI radar, but one that really does is this picture of the boy, like how the sweater kind of curves in and cuts into the silhouette of the shorts, even though it's supposed to be behind the shorts.
That's true. Or it could be he just didn't erase this part. Maybe this is on top. The layer is on top. The jacket layer could be on top. That's why it's like that. But I can't say. Although this line is weird. If it's shorts, why is this not continuing to that? It's not a solid. I don't know. I don't know, man. What is AI? Who knows? It could be, but also I don't know. It could just be a messy drawing.
That's a classic thing you might expect an AI to do. The bottom of the trunk of the shorts
Yeah,
just
that's what I
don't
was
really
saying.
make much sense. Like, is that supposed to be a shadow? Is that supposed to be the other side of the shorts? And there's also strange artifacts here that looks like the color of the skin of the leg that's kind of bleeding into the top of the shorts. And honestly, Ross is a great artist. He's great at what he does. And I don't think this is like the kind of mistakes or the marks that Ross would make in a painting. But hey,
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. You're right. He's a great artist. It's not something that he would make. It's not him. It's not like him to make mistakes like that. If you really drew that. I see.
again, just like the rest of you guys, I have no way to know for sure. Now, what we do know is Ross has made a statement on this topic addressing his AI usage. I'm going to link that down below along with the Google Doc. Ross says, out of the 600 plus published pieces of art I've created over the past 16 years, 5 have had some AI influence. I now recognize that I should have been more thoughtful and aware of the broader conversations around the subject. He then goes on to say, for my most recent book project, I briefly explored AI in the concept phase, but I made the clear decision to remove it to ensure the final work is entirely my own. This book is a reflection of my artistic vision, and I want to reassure you there is no AI in it. Now, you know what? I'll take his word for it. So obviously that statement is going to lend some credibility to what Fen had to say about the AI usage issue.
Yeah. It's his word against Ross. So it's like, who do you trust more? Something like that. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know these people personally, obviously. I've never interacted with them. Everything relies on their words. Because how do you know? How do you know it's gonna be AI? Oh my god, I don't know.
Now, here are my thoughts on this. You guys by now probably know how I feel about AI, and just in case you don't, let me put it real clear and concise for you. I don't with it. Now, you guys may believe what you will, but for me, I think generative AI is the epitome of the devaluation of art, of trying to cut costs, trying to cut human labor, trying to cut money that goes to artists. And it really just cheapens art and sees it as a means to an end as opposed to an entire creative process and human expression. The way that it's going right now, I really don't believe that it's technology that's here to help the everyday artist. It's actually gearing itself towards helping people who already have a lot of money keep more of their money instead of having to pay that money to hardworking artists. It's like the most dystopian take on art. And now, having heard all of that, you guys probably think I'm all for canceling AI art and just banishing anybody who uses it from the art community, but I'm actually not for that. I actually really don't believe that we should cancel people and belittle them for using AI as a part of their process. Now, in this specific case with Ross, I feel like Ross not disclosing his use of AI in some of his work is a huge mistake.
Let me see. Can we resume on deleting the mid-journey stuff? Can we make a goal to get through it by a certain date? Maybe a month. I'm at 24k. I think we can delete like around 3 to 3.6k an hour. Maybe you can put on a show and delete stuff from time to time. Ooh! Oh no! In 2024. Trying to cover his tracks. Maybe?
Is a huge mistake. I think we can all agree that transparency is very important on this topic. Like, yeah, personally, I will be disappointed if I find out you use AI in your work process and it's not something that I agree with. But guess what's going to disappoint me even more? Finding out that you used it and actually tried to hide it. And
oh shit, he's been paying for it. I've been paying for Midjourney for like a year-ish to generate ideas. I think one of these days we'll save the generations in a reference folder and then delete them from the Discord app in case my Discord gets hacked. Trying to save another public meltdown. Lol. There might be some truth to what Phoenix was saying. Ross is hiding. He's just hiding. Uh-oh. He said he only used AI on 5 out of 600 art pieces. And now he's like, yeah, I pay for Midjourney, but delete all the pictures, okay? Trying to save another public meltdown. Hello, Keda. I wanna draw, but I know it's gonna be bad. So, the first step to succeeding is to suck at something. Before you get good, you're bad. That's how it is. Unless you're a genius or something. I don't know, man. If you like drawing, it doesn't matter if it's bad or good. And if you're not trying to please anyone. I mean, if you're trying to please people, you just gotta be honest with it. If you wanna try to please people and make them like what you draw, that's another conversation. But if you just wanna draw for yourself, or you just wanna try it out, I don't think it wouldn't matter as much. It wouldn't matter as much if it's bad for now. Just continue drawing and drawing, and eventually you will see improvement. Fell down and have to learn the basics? Like perspective and 3D stuff? Yeah. You can try it. I mean, I also am trying to learn fundamentals as well because I don't know how to anatomy. I'm actually not really good at anatomy, obviously. Trying to learn a little bit.
To hide it. And that kind of brings me back to the reason that I speak out against canceling artists simply because they use AI. Because guess what? The more fear of backlash that we create around this topic of using AI in your workflow, the less transparency we'll get. There's less incentive for someone to come out and say, yes, I did use AI and admit to doing it. Because in this case, everyone who uses AI is going to be running scared. They're going to be looking over their shoulders to see if there's like a hate mob on the internet coming after them. And if you want that, if you support the harassment, you support the hate mobs, I'm sorry, but you got to do some thinking. You got to like look in the mirror and look long and hard at yourself, bro. Now, my belief on this is, you know, we all work differently. We all have our own process. If someone wants to try AI, there's no one who can stop them. They have free will. But for people like us who don't really support AI, I think if there's someone around you who is using AI as a part of their work process, we could try instead to encourage them, right? To provide resources where they can learn how to actually do it, how to actually pick up the skill. Maybe we can share with these artists, you know, the way that we personally learn a certain subject.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Why you hate when you can teach people how to do stuff? If you really want artists to draw, if you want people to learn how to draw, it's a bad idea to shame them for doing what they do. Instead, you gotta point them to the direction where it's right. You point them to the right direction instead of just telling them, well, it's just bad. Stop doing that. It's like you're not giving people options to do stuff. You're just telling them that it's bad. I mean, it really works wonders on Twitter. Or like any social media thingy. All the hate and all the fear mongering, it works a lot with the views, with the numbers, with the likes. And it's easier to just hate, yeah? It's just easier to cancel people instead of helping them. Yeah. I get it. I get it. I mean, this is why this guy is pretty nice to watch. I like his videos. He doesn't really like put down people. Seriously. Sometimes he does. But I think those are for memes. Because I don't know the deal with him and Colleen. They have like a beef or something. I don't even know if it's real beef. Probably not. Who knows?
The things that we found difficult and the things to look out for. Give them some access to resources. Guide them a little bit. Encourage instead of intimidate. My fear is I feel like a lot of people might turn to AI because they feel incompetent. They feel like their skill is not up to par. They lack the confidence to make what they want to make. They might fall into the trap of thinking AI is going to generate cooler ideas than I can ever do, and it's going to make more art even faster. So I really fear that some people might be using it out of a lack of confidence in themselves and their ability to learn this skill, which is why, again, I say to encourage people, to help people. Another problem that I see is that a lot of younger people are growing up with this brain rot of instant gratification all around them. And guess what AI provides? Instant gratification. You can't draw this thing? Well, you don't have to spend years to learn it. Just generate an image. It's going to look perfect. And I, for one, as somebody who loves making art, who loves learning about art, I don't want young artists, little art babies, to come out and just fall into this trap of instant gratification instead of finding the joy in putting in the work, learning the skill, suffering a little bit through the process.
Yeah, suffering is part of art, okay? You cannot spell painting without pain. You cannot spell paintubers without pain. Subscribe to Paintubers, by the way. It's our art channel with Cobra Raven. The thing about art as well, usually, I mean, how do I explain this? It's the drawing, it's the process of drawing, and it's the process of learning a new technique, for example, is what makes it satisfying for me, at least. Because when I'm drawing, I mean, I would love the drawing to look nice, obviously. I would love my drawing to look like what I imagine it to look. But at the same time, it's not just that. I love it when I'm trying a new technique, or like I'm trying a new coloring method, for example. I'm trying to draw something in a specific way and it works. It's the process. And it's fun to learn new stuff. It's for traditional specifically, it's the process of painting. It's the process of like cleaning the brushes. It's so fun. I don't know. I love painting traditionally as well. Although I haven't painted in a long time. I mean, I did paint recently, but with art, one way to find out if you are into it is if you enjoy the process. It's not always about the result. The result is always good, of course. The result, like having a nice picture at the end of it, or like people praising you that you did good, you made a really nice drawing, that's also part of a motivation. That's also a good motivation. Because that's how I started as well when I was young. I started drawing. I mean, people usually just draw because they want to draw, right? But I continued drawing because people around me told me that I was good and my drawings were really nice. So I continued drawing and drawing. That's the thing. But at the same time, if you don't enjoy the process, or if you don't like find a little bit of solace that you learn something while drawing, art will probably be not for you. You could probably try something else though. You know what I mean? It's hard. Suffering is part of it. And if you think suffering is not part of it, you're not the real artist. You gotta suffer. It's important. Praise does help. Praise helps a lot. That's true. That's true. Is that a worm, or are you just happy to see me? Yes.
But getting that delayed gratification and knowing what it feels like to have a passion for something. Again, that's why I say instead of using fear campaigns and harassment, instead of trying to alienate people, let's bring them in. Let's encourage people and help people out, okay? Now, in Ross's case, obviously Ross is not an incompetent artist. He is anything but a young, budding, new art baby. But here's the thing, okay? And take my word with a grain of salt because I'm not here to speak for Ross. But I think in this case, you know, the most likely scenario is that Ross has just no ability to cope with the amount of workload that has to go into this art book. And being somebody who's very high achieving, he probably wants, you know, incredibly beautiful finished pieces all throughout the book, and he wants to finish it within a certain time frame. And perhaps in that scenario, you set impossible standards for yourself in your head that you just cannot meet. And within that mindset, under those circumstances, I can see why somebody like him would turn to AI. And of course, that's not to say it's right, and this is definitely not something you should be hiding. Ross, as somebody who has been a fan of your work and has found inspiration in your work for a very long time, I think I can speak for a lot of your audience when I say that we would rather see a 2-minute rough sketch that's loose, that's expressive, than a beautiful, fleshed out, fully finished, and perfect looking AI paint over.
Oh, that's true, that's true. Maybe he's being ambitious about stuff. He wants the polished look all the time, that's why he's using AI. But it's not about making a finished, polished art. Is the suffering the same as being distressed? Maybe. Well, don't stress too much about it. If it's not working, if your drawing is not working, you gotta give it a break. You gotta give it a little break, try again tomorrow. You know? AI is not really an issue for me. The way I see it, AI cannot replace talent. More so, AI cannot replace creativity. Because AI just regurgitates things that already exist. They mix together things that already exist. They cannot create something new. Something like that.
The former is so much more authentically you. That's your style. That's your expression. Look, I don't know if you're misguided in thinking that you just don't have enough time or energy to make the book good enough, but listen, as long as this is your art, your creation, and everything is made by you and authentically you, dude, I don't think anyone's gonna complain. I think that's more than good enough for all of us. If you want to just do a whole bunch of sketches and rough drafts and just throw it in there, I actually wouldn't mind that. I think that'd be cool to see. Look, at the end of the day, your content is more than good enough. You are more than good enough. You don't need to compensate with this. But of course, like I said before, everyone has free will. And if AI is the path that you want to go down, Ross, I'm not here to stop you. Don't let the fear of backlash stop you. Just, again, be authentic, be transparent, just be upfront about it, you know?
Yeah, I just gotta be honest, actually. He just has to be honest with himself. What does he really want? He just has to be honest with what he says to people. It's like if he does use AI, just tell people that you use AI. I mean, you're already in that path, right? If he wants to continue that path, he should just admit it. But the part about not paying his employees, though, that's kind of... well.
And I'm sure it'll be fine. And guess what, guys? We're only halfway there. Just before we dive into the next issue of not paying your employees, I want to end off this AI talk with a thought. This whole AI thing, okay, especially when it comes to independent artists. Now, within the industry, obviously, I don't know anything about that. That's beyond my reach. But as an independent artist, I feel like the moment you start using AI in your work, you can't turn that back. I don't know about you guys, but if I found out that somebody I know uses AI in their work, now there's gonna be an annoying little voice in the back of my head every time I see a new piece you post. That's gonna be like, is this piece AI? Did you use AI for this piece?
Yeah,
even if you came out and said, guys, I've
You're
stopped
gonna be
using
suspicious
it,
about everything.
no more. Part of me is still gonna be like, did he get back on AI? Why does that look kind of... So that's an annoying psychological effect, just something to be aware of. Now let's talk about free labor. Obviously, I was not on the side of people harassing and dogpiling Ross for the use of AI. I don't support that, but this one's kind of hard to defend. Just brace yourselves because this is going to be a hard read. So
I thought you were volunteering at LBX, which is the main reason why I'm bringing you. Were you expecting compensation? I had some volunteers come up. I was just curious. I'm happy to volunteer. I just had the thought and wanted to be sure. Okay.
Ross says, yo, so Redacted messaged me. I thought you were volunteering at Lightbox, which is the main reason why I'm bringing you. Were you expecting compensation for this one? Sorry for miscommunication. I had some volunteers come up. So in this case, Fen says no, he was not expecting compensation. And that was that. Fen says Ross doesn't like to pay people. He will do his best to get volunteers, but if you bring a payment, he's very quick to take it away. He says that he did agree to volunteer for this and had only brought it up in this case because he found out other people have been paid and were getting paid or had their flights reimbursed. And Fen suspects that Ross knows people want to get close to him and will take advantage of that. Now that's obviously subjective. There's no direct proof for it, but again, these screenshots do not make for easy reading. In this second one, Fen seems to be a little bit more fed up with the volunteering thing. And he says, will you house me again? And will you buy my plane ticket? So he's trying to get Ross to reimburse his flight, which I think is more than reasonable. And this reply really just rubs me the wrong way. He says, well, then I can just pay someone here. In this last screenshot, essentially Ross is asking Fen to stay for the entire month of July, and when payment comes up, Ross says you get a whole July vacation. Fen says his rent and utilities is $830, and I feel like if you're gonna keep somebody for a whole month and 2 conventions, that's more than reasonable to ask for. So personally, I'm very dumbfounded by this because I feel like with the amount of money you're able to make at some of these conventions, you should be able to more than comfortably afford to pay at least minimum wage for every single employee who's there. And if...
Damn. He just says LMFAO, lemao to him when he brought up that. Making someone stay for the whole month and making them fly over. You get a whole July vacation. Oh, Ross thinks that it's a vacation. Damn. That sucks. You gotta stay for a month without getting paid? I don't know.
Employee who's there. And if for some reason the financials don't work out and you're not able to
Unpaid
afford all
vacation.
the employees, maybe it's time to just scale it back and not have free volunteers. I'm personally probably going to Lightbox this year in 2025, and I'm going to probably have a booth there. And I've asked a friend if he'd be down to help me out. Now, I cannot imagine telling bro that he's got to pay for his own flight, pay for his own hotel, and work for me for free for an entire weekend. Like, at that point, bro, do I own bro? I'd feel kind of shitty about myself. I feel like in situations like this, where someone's coming out to help you make money. That's the key thing here. It's not like we're running a charity or a nonprofit organization. We do make money at conventions. If somebody's helping you do that, they do deserve a part of that income. And at least they deserve to not have to pay out of pocket to fly there to help you. I feel like this is basic common sense. So to be fair, we haven't heard Ross's side of the story, and it's impossible to jump to conclusions without hearing at least both sides and making a judgment for yourself. Now, for the little art babies who are watching this video, if you're ever presented with opportunities like this, you have to be very careful and just be aware of the power dynamics that are at play. In some cases, big companies or individuals with a lot of clout are going to try to use that clout to pay you in exposure. And anytime somebody wants to pay you in compensation that is not monetary, it's a little bit of a red flag. So my advice for you guys is, if you find yourself in a similar situation here to Fen, know your boundaries, and you have to trust your guts. If you feel like something is wrong here, go talk to somebody. Go talk to your friend, go talk to a family member that you trust. Tell your side of the story and ask people if the situation is normal. Sometimes you genuinely need an outside pair of eyes. Sometimes it's like a toxic relationship. You don't realize you're in one when you're in it, but when somebody's looking at it from the outside, they can see it clear as day. And if you do find yourself in a situation where you're a little bit unhappy, you're bottling up some of your feelings, you have to communicate, negotiate, talk clearly to the person on the other side of the
Yeah, that's true. You gotta communicate clearly, and you have to know where your boundaries are. Sorry for pausing at the wrong time. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they did kind of talk about that it's a volunteer work, but it's just strange that he's gonna make money when he goes to Lightbox Expo. Why can he not pay for the ticket? Or like for the hotel, at least pay for the accommodations, pay for the commute and the accommodations, and food. I guess he just wants to save money. He wants all the money.
If the other party is negotiating with you in good faith, they should be willing to hear you out and potentially meet you halfway. But if you find yourself in a situation where they're threatening to take the opportunity away from you and say that they have other people who are willing to do it for free,
get out of that situation.
Huge red flag. And if you've ever lost any opportunities because of that, don't feel bad about it, because you might have just dodged a bullet, and you might have just dodged a whole mess of a Google Doc like this. This whole situation does not reflect well, not only on Ross, but also on Fen. Both parties look terrible here. You guys do not want to find yourself in a situation like this. Now, what I think is problematic, obviously, number one is Ross not wanting to pay people, but the second thing is Fen seems to be communicating to Ross about his need for compensation in a way that comes off as a joke. But this stuff is not a joke, and you shouldn't be like that. Even if you're talking to your friend, you shouldn't be mentioning it as a joke. I've worked with some of my friends on projects before, and the one thing that you have to do is outline payment splits and outline each other's expectations. And then
you have to talk about it right away. You have to talk about the money issue right away. If you can actually pay someone, or if you can, or if you cannot pay them. You know what I mean? Because this is gonna come up eventually. Even if, like, for example, it's just a project, for example, if it's a passion project, and you probably are not sure, if you're not sure if you're not gonna earn anything from it, if you bring someone else into the project, you have to make it clear to them right at the start that if we ever get paid, this is what's gonna happen. Something like that. I mean, that's how it is for us with Painttubers, because I do another channel called Painttubers. I do it with Koba. Obviously, we're not monetized in that channel, but we already talked about, like, how is it gonna happen if we actually get monetized. You gotta talk about it right away, because it's gonna come up eventually. Because people don't like working for free. If they don't, especially if they don't really like the stuff that they're doing. I mean, if they like the stuff that they're doing, they probably are willing to work for it for free for some time. But eventually, if it's like getting profitable and they're not seeing any of those, it's like, why are they there? They're gonna start to question, like, is this a waste of my time? Getting paid in exposure? That kind of sucks, getting paid in exposure. Exposure cannot feed you. Exposure cannot buy you the new game. Exposure cannot buy you the new Assassin's Creed game. That's the sad part. See? Let me use your work, you get exposure. Yeah.
And after that, you can start talking shit. You can start joking. But I will say, to Fenix's defense in this situation, Ross is definitely in a higher position of power. So Fen might have felt like some sort of genuine fear that he was going to get dropped and that he was going to lose out on the opportunity of his lifetime, which could explain why he's much more careful with his words and he doesn't push things too far. But still, you shouldn't do that. Even if you're in a lower position of power, know your own boundaries and trust your guts. And communicate.
You gotta communicate.
There's something you need. Say it. The other party's not going to know it until you communicate clearly. And that goes both ways. Clearly, Ross also needs to communicate that there are some roles that are volunteer only and are unpaid. Or again, just be transparent, just be honest and outline your budget. Show Fen your budget and just say, I cannot afford any more paid workers. Brother, all these Google Docs could have been worked out in the DMs. Would have saved me some headache too. Now look at you guys. You got me.
That's true. There's a lot of like situation, drama, quote unquote, that they could just solve in the DMs, but they gotta air it out in the internet. And now he's involved because people think it's him. Oh no. Wanna give a sincere apology to SamDoesArts for mixing him up with the rendered anime girl artist continuously until very recently.
In on this. Ross,
oh
Fenix.
No.
Tired of both of y'all. Y'all need to work this out. Okay, Fen says, I've spoken to Ross about my feelings and all the issues just to be told. Thank you for telling me and honoring the truth. And that he's big enough to process and learn from this, but in order to protect himself and his energy, he needs to distance himself from me. So he basically cut Fen off. Now, of course, Fen is mad about the breakup, which left a bad taste in my mouth because I know it's hard to hear criticism. But to paint it as protecting himself from his energy sounds like a way to remove the only person who is trying to hold him accountable for his actions. Fen says he doesn't want to be held accountable, which means the next person to take my place in his life will only deal with the same issues as I have. There are probably other things I'm missing, but for now, this is all I can remember for the moment. Fen's got a point there. He's got a point. He's taking one for the team. But both of you guys, look what you've done to me. I'm not taking anyone's side here. I'm just here to share the tea. You guys can let me know what you guys think about it in the comments.
Oh, no.
Look, I want to end this video
caused him
by
some
saying,
problems as well.
Despite my frustration with the current situation, I wish both of these people all the best in life. To Fen, I just want to say I'm sorry that you found yourself in this whole situation. It sounds like a horrible place to be in. I hope you've learned from this. And I hope you value your own services a little bit more going forward.
Yeah, value yourself.
Compensation for your time. You got to know your worth. And to Ross, I certainly credit a lot of my success to him because he was one of the few people that really pushed me out of my comfort zone. You know, he made me realize what was possible in my own career. My sincerest hope is for Ross to have learned from this, to come back even stronger from this, and to get back to form and to continue to be a source of inspiration, not only for myself, but for other young artists in the community. Maybe he hasn't been mature enough to realize this in the past, and frankly, maturity doesn't always come with age. Sometimes it comes from events like this one that serves as a wake-up call in your life that you need to do better and you need to be a better version of yourself. So that's my hope for Ross. Okay, Ross, whatever you decide to do going forward, whether you're going to stick with AI or just get rid of AI, just do your own thing. Just be authentic, be transparent, be honest, and don't ever stop trying to improve, not only as an artist, but also as a person. And I believe you can do it. I believe in you. This is a photo from Lightbox 2022.
Ah, so
that
nice.
we took together, and I still remember this like
nice
it
guy.
was yesterday. This was me meeting all of my art heroes, all the people whose videos I watched, whose art I loved before I became anything like what I am today. I mean, just look at that. As a creator, that's the impact that you have. You guys are the reason I'm there. You're here to set a good example, all right? So Ross, you're gonna come back from this. I believe in you. I hope we can continue to all be good examples for the next generation so that they can eventually join us in a picture like this. That's it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Bye-bye.
I thought he was gonna break the picture in front of the camera. Oh, man. Sam, you're too nice. What a nice guy. I mean, I guess it's not really about being nice. He's just being logical about the situation. And he looks up to Ross. he has looked up to Ross for a long time. It's gonna feel bad if you look up to somebody for a long time and they actually turn out to be shit. They do something shitty. You kind of wish that they don't and they come back stronger. That's true. Yeah. Ah, what a nice video. This is the ending song. Ending song. This is the ending song.